future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Judy here from Dr. Judy, WTF with the Freud. And thank you so much for tuning in. Our show tonight is titled The Narcissist and the Codependent, a WTF kind of match. So this is a call-in show. Please call in, get on the couch with your emotional ouch, and you can reach us at 323-843-2826. And I want to start by introducing you to my Mindmap, which is a system of analyzing, shrinking the material that we're going to be talking about. And the Mindmap is something that I created many years ago as a pathway to healing global disconnect, and it ended up being my model for healing human disconnect, starting with mother-infant disconnect, father-infant disconnect, disconnect within the families, community, and the world at large. So if you take a look at the mind map, you will see the first third of the mind map, which represents our childhood, first developmental few years of life. The middle represents the chaos and defenses and breakdowns of today. And the bottom third represents how we morph into healing and balance. So tonight we're going to shrink the wounds of childhood related to narcissism, the wounds of childhood related to codependency, and we're going to see how the two fit together, because ultimately what happens within relationships is that we attract the people that we have incompletions with, and that's why the WTF is how I refer to this incompletion, because it's a repetitive cycle. We draw in people that we still have work to do to finish with, and if not our parents of origin, we will draw in people who represent patterns of our family of origin. So just a little bit more about panel 1. It's a very important panel because it starts the beginning process of the blueprint of who we are, who we pattern ourselves how we copycat off of our family of origin. And there are 5 main wounds of childhood that I speak most often about, and those wounds happen to coincide with our topic, narcissistic injuries, of course. They are verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, and smothering. And we'll see how all of these wounds coexist within relationships, get triggered in relationships, and then they create reactions within the relationship and trigger negative core beliefs within the relationship that often take people down into chaos, defenses, and breakdowns. And tonight we are going to talk a little bit about narcissistic defenses and how when the system goes wrong, because whatever label you want to choose to use to describe, it's really about a system gone wrong, starting with the mother-infant system, reverberating out into father-infant, how the mother and the father hold up as pillars or not so much, and the multi-generations of pain that come down the pike into our human psyche and then leave us in pain and suffering. So for those of you who do watch on a regular basis, or if you're tuning in for the very first time, please subscribe to our channel. And also know that we offer free consultations, 15-minute consultations. And if you call in for a consultation, you will receive a free copy of the PDF version of my book, Be the Cause, Healing Human Disconnect. And you can start reading and you can start understanding the system, your system, how your system went right, how your system went wrong, and understand your own childhood wounds so that you can identify them and start healing through them. So with that said, I also want to mention something else. I'm wearing this beautiful necklace. If you notice, the necklace is my panel number 7, which is the paradigm shift, which is a metaphor for interconnection. And I have a special guest tonight who decided to join us, and she is the artist of this beautiful artwork. And we're going to be making Heather Dyke's artwork available. All you need to do is contact the Psychological Healing Center, and you can order your necklace, you can order your Mindmap pillows, you can order your Mindmap coffee mugs, and so on and so forth. And thank you. You can put her beautiful art up there. She's truly a talented person, obviously very passionate about the mind map, and combining her very, very talented abilities in art and manifesting it through sharing with other people this process that I created. So welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you so much for being on the show. Heather's been on a couple of shows,
Yep.
and she's actually our song picker. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that for all these many, many months. I think maybe even a year you've been picking songs.
I've been mind mapping. I've been on this mind map journey with you for a year. Yeah.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
And
It's my honor. I think that it's great. I believe in you full-heartedly. I believe in your system, and I believe in your heart, and that you mean well, and that you want to heal human disconnect. And coming from me, that means something, because it's hard for me to believe in anybody because I've lost that ability to do that. So I believe in your system will help others to find their way to help heal themselves.
I
which
appreciate
is really,
that.
Yeah, or care enough to heal themselves, because there are a lot of people that don't care to heal themselves. They like the muck they're staying in.
Well, it's painful to open up those wounds.
It's hard.
And a lot of people choose not to.
Right.
And some people only choose to when they're breaking down into chaos.
Yeah.
And the pain is too much to bear.
Yeah, and
then they come sometimes, not always.
Yeah,
So
we could also get addicted to hurting each other. That negative. I mean, people that actually get addicted to staying in that rut, that narcissism, and protecting themselves. They don't know any different. So, but you sparked a light, and I appreciate it, and that's why I made all this mind map stuff, because while I make the art, each panel goes through my mind, and your voice and your words, the meaning behind it, the feeling behind it, the passion and the compassion.
Thank you very,
goes
very
into
much.
each of them. So it's mind map art.
Mind map art. So with that said, one of the reasons, other than the fact that you came to see me today, and it is your birthday, and what's really interesting about Heather is that when it's her birthday, guess what Heather does, which is really, really beautiful. And also part of what we're going to discuss, she brings me presents. And I got a bunch of presents on Heather's birthday, which is quite something. I got beautiful candles and stained glass mind maps and coffee mugs and a puzzle, which I should too. Also, and a bunch of jewelry. Yeah. So I want you on the show because of your narcissistic injuries, which have led you to be quite a people pleaser.
Yes.
And quite a codependent.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I totally full-heartedly agree.
And we're
And I tend
working
to pick,
on that.
Yeah, I tend to pick people that are damaged or need help in something because, that's what we do, right? I know there's other people that agree with me. We help people. We're programmed to be servants of that.
So I want to speak to that from a theoretical model, because guess who would be attracted to somebody like you? I mean, a lot of people would be attracted to someone like you, and you in particular, because you are such a beautiful, kind-hearted human being. However, you must be careful to shield yourself. You have to beware to make sure that you are not used and abused, because you come from such a horrific, I won't even say horrible, horrific, abusive background that includes pretty much all the panel 1 wounds that I listed, maybe not smothering. I think you can use a little bit more smothering, but
in a good way.
In a good way. Okay, so I want to read you a little bit of theory behind this, and I want to first start off with, how do you recognize if you're codependent? So here are some ways to recognize it, and you can chime in if this sounds like you as well. Excessive and unhealthy tendency to rescue and be responsible for other people. What do you think, Heather?
Matter of fact, I would say sorry for, like, if I was with my partner.
Yeah.
Because they were usually narcissists or, so damaged that they don't recognize that they just hurt another human being.
Okay.
So I would say sorry for them. So,
wow.
I would,
So you wouldn't even...
So I would take responsibility for everything. I would, rub their feet, bring them stuff to, eat or cook them stuff. And so that is totally right up there. So I get it.
No matter what their behavior,
they could treat me like
they could treat you like dirt, and you were the one rubbing their feet.
As long as they give me a fraction, just a little bit of love. I mean, I wasn't that bad off. I mean, they have to give me a little bit of love,
Okay,
They throw me a bone. They threw me a bone every once in a while.
Okay, so I have a lot to say about that, and I will elaborate.
Please do.
About that. First of all, you understand that children will do anything for love.
Yeah.
And if there's a morsel of love coming, and you
crumb.
have to do, if you've got to do a whole loaf to get that morsel, you will, because children are dependent on our parents. And so what this system gone wrong created for you, Heather, is a very, very sad system where you overinvest in people.
Yes.
And others underinvest in you, which is why the codependent and the narcissist make for such an interesting WTF kind of a system gone wrong. So I'm going to flesh out some more features of codependence and then narcissism, and there are many definitions. I look at things more less as labels. I use labels because people understand more the languaging, but again, a system gone wrong. So more on the codependent person.
Please do, information me.
Okay, derives a sense of purpose and boost of self-esteem through extreme self-sacrifice to satisfy the needs of others.
Yeah.
Yeah?
There is a satisfaction too. I did something kind for somebody else. But I was taught, before when I was little, in a very religious setting, in the Bible it says people that have nothing and they give are the most blessed of the planet. So we gave a loaf of bread to a homeless lady when there was 3 starving children at home. I couldn't figure that out. But there was a sense of, I learned to get a high, quote unquote, high from giving.
Yes.
That's a human connection regardless.
Which is a beautiful
even
quality.
Though you're not getting anything back.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no sense of reciprocity.
There's no
and so therefore
prosperity for me.
No, literally you will starve emotionally, you'll starve physically, and other people around you will do
100%
better than you. They'll do better. They will choose to enter and stay in lengthy, high-cost caretaking and rescuing relationships despite the cost to you and others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. It's very true.
Okay. Seem to attract low-functioning people, looking for someone to take care of them so they can avoid the responsibility or consequences. I would think of just working on yourself. So them before you. Work on them rather than work on you.
Of course, because at that point in my life, I didn't want to focus on the pain of myself. It's much easier. Everybody brought me their problems, so it's goody. I don't have to focus on myself. So I totally get that. Yeah,
Right.
But I take responsibility now for my stuff, but I didn't want to before.
And this is the first time I'm hearing from you desires like, I want to learn how to drive.
I do. I want to go to college and I want to get my high school diploma.
Absolutely.
Degree,
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I do. Because you inspired that. You give me a little bit of stability, which I'm a gypsy. I mean, I move everywhere. So you give me that stability and hope in stability, because it's still just
hope in stability.
Hope in having stability.
Well, I'm kind of new to your life.
Yeah.
We've only known each other for a year,
Yeah.
and you said something really nice to me tonight, which was that you're starting to trust me, which is big.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I don't really trust people very much.
And trust is earned. You just can't throw trust to the wind and say, I trust. Trust is earned.
Mm-hmm.
So also having a pattern of engaging in well-intentioned but ultimately unproductive, unhealthy, helping behaviors, such
it's
as
the same
enabling.
thing over and over. Yeah, totally.
So codependency often is associated with alcohol.
So I'd be more like a smotherer.
In a way, yes. In a way.
Because you just said something at the end there that just a light went off in my head. I was like,
Okay.
wait a minute. Am I sort of like a smotherer? Because I coddle people, anybody that's around me, all my friends, I take care of them.
Yes.
Make sure, because I don't have any kids. I don't want to breed. There's too many people in the world that we need to take care of now. So, like, any relationship that I'm with, I tend to mother them.
Yes.
Because I don't want to pay attention to my stuff.
Well,
now I'm changing that, okay?
Yeah, you really are, and somebody with narcissistic tendencies. Let's go into narcissism.
Shall we?
I've talked a lot about it on many shows. The system gone wrong. My personal definition of narcissism has to do with the system of mother putting herself before baby. And in thinking about it more today, or father, parents putting themselves before the child and enlisting the child in the service of the parent, meaning that child has to learn to please the parent over please him or herself. So the system goes very wrong. It's a system of you do for me, not you be for me. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's missing is the mirroring, which is the feedback loop to the child that they're okay. What's missing is the consistent communication, unconscious and conscious communication that the child is important. And if the child is important, it's an overinflated sense of importance made to make the parents look good, like look at
over-embellish.
Yeah, but for a purpose. Look at my little Johnny. Isn't he handsome? He's the best pianist I've ever heard. Oh, look at little Mary. Isn't she beautiful? Look at her ability to do ballet. So it's not even seeing the child for who he or she is. It's seeing the child as an object.
Yeah, they live vicariously through their children.
Vicariously, the trophy child.
Yeah.
I think
pageant, I've seen it on the pageants.
You
and
have,
stuff. Yeah,
right?
Pageant Mom.
Yeah, Pageant Mom.
I used to like watching that show.
Yeah.
I think it's cute, but I really don't like. It's like fast food. I don't support fast food. It's gross. It's not even real food.
Well, newsflash. Okay, newsflash.
Pageant moms live through it. It's not real love. It's not.
Newsflash to you. Okay, that you're supporting by being the nice codependent. You're supporting the overvaluing of the narcissistic defensive shell, because as I get into it, you'll understand what I mean by overvaluing. So as of late, I've been refascinated with a psychologist, a psychoanalyst who was very, very steeped in knowledge. He studied Melanie Klein. These people were a group of psychoanalysts back in the day, early 1900s, and I started researching Otto Kernberg. Of course, I've learned a lot about him over the years through my education, and he has a school of thought that is called the Object Relation School of Thought.
Wow.
Meaning how we internalize our objects, how we internalize mother, how we internalize father, how that process soaks into the fiber of our being. And this is something that I talk about in the Mindmap system because it's the way we're blueprinted. How are we soaking in our primary objects, mommy dearest, daddy dearest?
Yeah, right.
Okay. And so I started researching him, and of course I wanted to look up when he was born and when he died. And so I'm Googling Dr. Kernberg, and I see date of birth, I think something like September 10th or 12th, 1928. And I'm wondering when he died, and I don't see a date of death.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So I'm
Creepy.
like, what happened
That's
here?
cool.
Was there a mistake in Wikipedia?
Probably.
Right? And so I
But that's
Google
cool.
further. Turns out that he's alive and well. I was
Wow.
so excited. So, of course, I'm Googling, and I get his phone number, and I thought, I'm going to call him. I'm going to invite him on this show. I need to invite him on this show.
You will.
I need to talk to Dr. Otto Kernberg, who is just a major...
We all need to talk to him.
Yes, we do. So
Connect.
anyway, I just sent him a copy of my book, and an email is going out to him, and hopefully we will be fortunate enough to have him on the show. That would be
He will grace
a great
us with his
blessing.
presence.
So I'm going to teach you a little bit about him. I'm a great admirer of his. So Otto Kernberg's theory have been instrumental in the continual development of object relations theory. So again, he was pals with Melanie Klein, and he was very into the work of Sigmund Freud. And I think we have a caller on our show. So hello, yes, welcome. Get on the couch. I want to hear about your thoughts. Hi.
Hello.
Yes, you are on air with Dr. Judy. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. And what is your name, please?
My name is Mark.
I'm sorry. What's your name?
Mark?
Fix the.
Did you say Mark?
My name's Martin.
Martin. Welcome, Martin. Where are you calling from? What city, state are you calling from?
I'm from Cleveland.
Okay, wonderful. So do you have a particular thought, a particular question?
So I'm a 26-year-old gay guy, and I have a narcissistic father.
Yes.
And it's been, I think it's created like this huge codependent need that I now have,
Yes.
and it's like affecting every facet of my life, and it really sucks.
Okay.
But my dad, he's always trying to hoover me back in, and then like as soon as I'm close with him, he kind of he attacks me or says something mean or like physically hurts me or you know what I mean, cuts me down verbally. So it's just like it's that roundabout like
Yes.
merry-go-round cycle, and I feel like I can never quite get off of that merry-go-round because it's just like you know, I don't talk to him for 6 months, and it's like then I get this wonderful text from him, and he's like, "Let's hang out."
Okay. I want to explain some of the dynamics going on here. Okay, and so just hang on for a little. I think it'll become clearer and and clearer. First of all, as you know, children will do anything for a morsel of love. And I've just been talking to Heather, who did
true.
anything for a morsel of love for their parents. So you've been groomed to give a lot and get very little. Now, if your father suffers from narcissistic personality disorder or elements of narcissism, then his internal core self is not a stable core. Okay, so
Right.
what he will do is he will project a lot of his feelings onto you. So he kind of needs you as a projection screen. So he will hoover you back in. So when you leave, it's not a very good moment for him because now he has nobody to project onto and no one who will care enough to continue to feed his narcissistic needs. Okay.
Another really interesting thing I notice is like with the projection, he says things to me like out of nowhere, like, why do you hate me? And it's like, I never said I hated you.
Okay.
Why, you know what or if I ever bring up all the abuse, like the physical abuse and there was lots and lots of physical abuse growing up. And if I ever bring it up, he tells me I'm making it up and I'm a liar. I'm a good storyteller, just like my mother, and I should write books.
Okay, so here, let me read a little, and then you'll comment because I think a lot of the answers are here in this information. So, normal adult narcissism, which is healthy narcissism, which is the healthy development of the self, creates an integrated sense of self. Does that make sense? Mommy loves me, daddy loves me, all is good, it's all good inside, and they regulate my feelings. I don't have to manage things on my own. I won't be living in my double dungeon of darkness, as I like to refer to it, because there are some good people and good representations of people living inside of me. So I bet you that your father did not have that.
No, he actually his father died when he was 17.
Okay.
And I feel like that totally scarred him and made him this monster of some sort, and I never was able to have a close relationship with him. And when it was close, it was abusive. It was it was never like wholesome.
No, because he wasn't wholesome. So what was missing here is that he had bad object relations. So he was not able to have this stable self-concept. So what happens is that people who don't have the stable self-concept, they begin to split. And what you're experiencing is his splitting. So he may over-idealize you, and then he'll hoover you back in and devalue you. He may over-idealize.
And it drives me freaking nuts.
Absolutely.
It's like, I want to be close to him. I want to have a relationship with him, but it's like the next day or the next week, month, whatever, he's telling me, I'm a piece of shit or whatever, and like I'm worthless.
Right.
So, or one day he's very pro-gay and like all about it, and then the next he's telling me I'm going to hell, and it's just like I don't know how to process. I feel like there's constant cognitive dissonance happening.
Okay,
and
so
it's very rough.
He's in conflict with himself. He's in battle with himself.
Okay, question to you. Do you find yourself playing this out in relationships?
Playing the what?
Playing this entire pattern out in your romantic relationships. Do you find yourself with people who will demean you or devalue you, who will hoover you in, draw you in? Do you find yourself repeating this?
I wanted to kind of touch on that really quick with the codependency. I've been in a 10-year relationship with the same person, and it's great in a lot of ways, but he is very good at, like, I'm susceptible to his abusive moments. So, like, if he wants to manipulate me I'm hook, line, and sinker falling for it, and
Okay.
it sucks because it's like I know on a conscious level, I guess now that that's a pattern that I've been following.
This is a pattern that
But-
you've been groomed for. Okay, you've been groomed for this pattern. So you've been set up to take it because there's a morsel of something coming your way. And so one thing that codependents don't do enough of course, is they don't set enough boundaries.
Right.
Because the narcissistically wounded partner, well, both of you are wounded, but with the narcissistically wounded partner, that person who does the overvaluing and the devaluing will never recognize, they don't have that ability to self-reflect or self-correct. All
Yeah,
they
they don't
know
have the
how
tools.
to do.
They don't have the
they
tools.
do not. So all
They don't have a Judy.
They don't have a Judy?
No, they don't have a Judy truth
They
light.
could, but they don't want to come see me. Why? Because they don't want to self-reflect. They don't want to
I
self-correct.
will tell you this. When I was maybe 13 years old, I was going to therapy, and this woman, she was amazing. She was a Holocaust survivor, and she was just a phenomenal therapist. I wish I could find her again.
Okay.
Anyway, I was telling her my dad was like hitting me and pulling my hair and biting me and choking me.
Sounds
And
almost
she-
psychotic with the biting. That sounds
Totally.
real psychotic to me. Okay. Is he
Yeah, I
is
mean,
your,
talking about it, it's very hard to talk about.
Okay.
But anyway, she told him, like, I think pretty politely, like, hey, you can't hit him and you can't abuse him. And he's like, that's it. You're not going to this therapist anymore. And I never
has
saw her
to
again. And
that is
report.
right.
broke
Isn't
my
she
heart.
supposed to make a report of child abuse?
Well,
Yeah,
if you
it's
were
usually-
older, then she doesn't have to make that report.
Really? I thought it was
That's
mandatory.
right. That's right. No, not for adults. No. That's right.
Oh, okay.
So just to go over the law, if you are a therapist and you know that your patient is being abused and the person's a minor, you have to
Of course,
report.
yeah.
If they're not a minor, then it's up to them to report. If you think that there are other children in danger, then you may want to report that because you don't want, as I like to put it, the psychovirus to spread to other people. Yeah, go ahead.
So I know you probably don't have a lot of time to talk with me, but I just want to touch on a couple other things real quick, if that's okay.
Yes.
So I am the scapegoat in my family right now because I'm gay and because I say things that you're not supposed to. I come from a Catholic Irish family, and everybody's very passive aggressive. We're from the Midwest, and we don't talk about things. And I'm not like that. Like I say what's on my mind usually, or if I see something that's wrong, I try to say it.
Well, you're not going to be
anyway,
popular with a narcissistically defended person, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And by the way, you are more than invited to call the Psychological Healing Center and ask for a free consultation, and also ask for your free PDF copy of my book, Be the Cause, since we're
I already downloaded that.
You did. Very cool. Okay.
It's a fabulous book.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so go ahead and finish your thought, and I want to add to what you're saying so you have a take on what the Freud is going on here.
Okay, well, this is important. So, anyway, me being the scapegoat in the family, I mean, it was kind of like a slow, gradual thing, and I just became like uninvited to Thanksgivings and Christmases over the last year or so.
That's right. You've been disloyal to the narcissist. You've been disloyal,
right,
and the flying monkeys are not going to allow.
I'm sorry. I have this aunt, and she's sort of the matriarch of the family. She's a closeted lesbian, and she hates me because I'm gay. Like, she cannot stand that I'm gay and that I'm out. And so she tells me I'm going to hell all the time. And
she resents your freedom that you have. I'm a lesbian, by the
But-
way, too. So yeah, just to have a connection
well,
with you.
It's good to know there's people out there that are,
Family.
that accept it and are nice,
Mm-hmm.
and like I feel like I'm one of those people,
So
and I don't understand why.
So ask your question so I can have maybe a chance to address it
Okay.
from a dynamic, psychodynamic mind map perspective.
So I've been excommunicated from the family effectively, and I'm not really allowed to go to family things, but there's still family members I like and
Yes.
and I think they like me, and
Yes.
I just really miss my family,
Of course.
and I feel like I don't know how to like go see them,
Are you talking about the other people that are indirectly involved in this? Those are the people that you want to reach out to?
Well, yeah, and I feel like they're caught in the middle, and they don't know
They
how
are.
to, like, they feel like if they talk to me, then they're gonna be bad people too, and
Right.
it just sucks because I'm just like all I have is my boyfriend, and
Oh wow.
I have no family anymore.
This
and,
is tragic.
My
Yeah,
mom
it is.
just died.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm just
Oh, wow.
I just feel like and my mom was dying, and like my brother, who's also like narcissistic or something, he didn't visit her in the hospital. It was just me. And
So-
I don't know. I'm just
So I'm
alone.
really, this is so sad. And what your father accomplished here was to isolate you from the family. And so
Yeah.
he does the bidding, you can see, and he controls everyone else. And if you don't fit into satisfying his needs, you're out. And this is because his core is so injured. I know that's just a consolation thought to you, but it's true. Okay? So here's what happens in the narcissistic personality disorder. There's an aberration of self-love. There's an aberration in the expression of love to others, and deviant moral systems, and the self is split. Either it's grandiose or it's devalued. So within himself, his only way of puffing himself up and keeping himself in an idealized state is to pick on anything that he can think of, including your homosexual orientation, to keep himself overvalued. Okay, so once you understand how injured he is, and that doesn't take responsibility away from injured people to not clean up their injuries so that they don't project them onto other people, but at least for you to understand that he has a very, very shallow and like a very empty inner core, and this false self that you're seeing, which is kind of the huffing and the puffing and the power and the hitting and the biting and everything that he does, is his defense against his empty shell.
According to him, that never, ever, ever happened. I'm making it up. Like all the abuse. Like he tells my stepmom that I'm a liar and I make all this stuff up, and it's like it was daily abuse. So it's
it's
insane
impossible.
to me that he can deny it.
No, impossible. So that's part of the gaslighting. Have you ever seen the movie Gaslight? It's a thriller.
No, but I know. I think I know what gaslighting is.
Yeah.
I think it's.
It's
yeah,
a good movie,
I
by the
think
way. You
that's
can
what he's
look it up
doing.
on YouTube. I did. I watched it right after.
It'll
she talked about
drive
it.
you insane.
My parents did the same thing. I confronted my father about the abuse, and he said, matter of fact, he went so far as to say the therapist that I was seeing as a little girl brainwashed me. And he did
Oh my
research.
God.
Yeah, that's what he believed full-heartedly. And I also miss my counselor that saved me from these people. And I would love to see her too. So when you said that, I was like, you know what? I would love to see the counselor that took me out of that horrible home, that saved me, and they ran her out of town. So so I relate
he
with
had
you. I
to.
relate with you, and you're not alone. I'm here for you. You could contact me on Facebook, or just leave a message on
Thank you. I
the
really
chat
appreciate
line,
that.
and I will always have an open ear and a heart to you, because we are family. We're all connected. We are one, and we have to take care of each other. And we have to give each other hope. And Judy, is doing this for us. You're making me emotional too, because I can feel your pain, bro. I feel you. And it's so sad.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
Listen, that's what the
it's
show is
beautiful.
about. The show is about
It's so beautiful, your emotions.
Self-expression.
Thank you for giving. You are worth those tears. You're mourning the loss of the child that these people massacred. They took away your inner child. They killed it. And these tears that we bring are the mourning of.
And Heather, you would know better than most because you've been through this.
And would he?
It's a couple of things.
That just cuts me down. His dad bit him and did all that stuff. It's just horrible.
So
don't believe them. Do not believe them on their lies. A couple
of things I want to say, no, it's okay. Thank you, because I know how passionate you are and how hurt you've been and how much you can relate to what Martin is saying.
It's beautiful.
Couple of episodes I want you to watch, okay? First of all, I want you to watch an episode I did recently called something about the herder can't be the healer.
Yes.
Okay, because that's what the Freud. We go back into wanting the herder to heal us, and they just won't do it. They just don't have the capacity to do this. And the other show I want you to watch is a show that I did about, I think a year ago, called Grieving the Parents You Never Had.
Oh, yeah, that's
okay. That's a real important one for you because you're grieving. You're grieving the loss of your mother because she actually died. And then there's the father that you were supposed to have, the father who was supposed to protect you, the father who was supposed to esteem you, a father who was supposed to accept you for who you are. And again, going back to my definition of narcissism, a system gone wrong and a system where you are put second to your father's needs. And so now he's enlisted the family in doing same. I don't know where the gravy train is going, but apparently he is doling out compliments and whatever love or money or presents to these people because he's gathering his team. And the more he can aggrandize himself, the better he'll feel temporarily. But then he'll fall down and that empty core of self will emerge. And then I want to read a little bit more about this splitting process. Let's see. So the early pathological object relationships, meaning how he internalized his mother and father, result in negative and ambivalent internalized mental images of the self and others, meaning he can't hold it straight. He cannot see the truth. I talk a lot about the cracked lens of perception. His lens is cracked. So I think he might genuinely even believe that he doesn't hurt you because maybe he was hurt so badly that he doesn't even understand the difference between what's normal and what's sick.
Yeah,
so
probably thinks he's doing it good for him.
I know for a fact his dad was a schizophrenic who beat him and an alcoholic, and so that cliche thing abusive parents say, like, "Oh, you didn't have it half as bad as I did."
Yes. I felt that there was something psychotic there because when you started talking about the biting, that's really crossing a line into not much of a reality check. So now I understand better that his father was psychotic.
My mom told me when I was 3 that, things I don't even remember, like he would slap me out of my high chair and just do really not nice things, like pick me up by my hair, and I was 3 or 4, and I don't remember that, but my mom, before she passed, she told me all these things that my dad used to do to us.
And what was she doing when he was doing these things to you?
She would try to stop him, I think, and he would hit her.
All right. So can you see this horrific dance of the narcissist and the codependent, and the codependent is groomed to love at any cost. So you were groomed to love at any cost, and Heather too. And so we have to be very careful.
It's hitting me really hard right now, you saying that, because it's I'm not in an abusive relationship by any means, but I'm in a relationship where it's not always ideal, and I feel like I am groomed, and I'm sort of, I expect certain treatment or something.
Yes, and
that's
so
why,
look, if you're in a good enough relationship, and I'm talking good enough, then perhaps you and your partner can open a discussion about this. You have my book.
Communication's key.
I must have 200 plus videos up on YouTube that you can listen to, and you can start the dialogue, because my ideal model, and again, ideal model is panel 7, which is interconnection, so that you plus your partner bring to each other the light. No one's being vampired. In the codependent narcissistic situation, there's a lot of vampiring going on, because the narcissist is drawing a proverbial blood from the codependent, but the narcissist, he or she, is not really doing him or herself a favor either, because this individual will never heal their hole in the soul. They'll just use people as objects to fill the hole in the soul. And the codependent is not doing the person a service by being so nice and sweet and accommodating, because they're literally stopping their growth. Okay, understand? You're stopping the growth.
I understand. It's just it feels like it's just a trap, and it's like endless. Unless, like, thank you so much for the radio shows and the podcast, the YouTube videos that you do, because
You're
I've
so
been watching them
welcome.
for like the last few weeks, and I've been waking up to a lot of things that are happening and have happened, and I just realized I've been caught in this pattern for so long.
Yep. It's panel 4, 5, 6, chaos, defenses, and breakdowns. And as you read the book really carefully, you can identify what kind of core belief your parents left you with, a core belief that absolutely runs the show and incentivizes you to be that good codependent that feeds others love at any cost. And so you can break that now, and you can have some open and honest discussions with your partner, and hopefully he will understand that this is a system that's not exactly wonderful for him either, because at the end of the day, you're going to grow resentful, okay? And it may come a point where you get a little healthier, and if he doesn't bring to the relationship, you might just up and walk away, and he can't afford such a formula. So this is not a winning formula for either one of you. So start sharing with him, and thank you so much for your comments, and do be in touch, and feel free.
And welcome to be wake. No, welcome
to the what?
Welcome to being woke. Not
right.
You're very welcome to being woke, because you're a rarity. It doesn't happen very often.
No.
So you are blessed. Congratulations.
I really appreciate you guys. You guys are light.
Our pleasure.
A light in an otherwise kind of dark world.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
You really helped me.
You are a light to me too. You give me hope. Thank you for your story. I really learned a lot from you. Thank you.
And let me know how you're doing, okay? Check in. And thank you very much, Martin. And I'll just add a few more facts about this splitting business, okay? So our first relationship, our first love is with our parents. And so how that love goes is how it's going to go in significant relationships. And if that love is based on what can you do for me, and I won't do much for you, there is the blueprint. And so the codependent, who's groomed to give, and the narcissist, who sucks the energy dry, make a very WTF kind of team that will stunt growth. It
Sounds
will
like wrestling.
It will
WTF.
Yeah,
for
WTF, and it will reinforce the patterns of you being a doer, and you will always feel that you're not loved for who you are, but what you do. And the narcissist doesn't make out very well either, because he or she will not grow, and at certain points in people's lives, they just will get off the merry-go-round, and a lot of narcissists, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, die alone. So
yeah,
once
I
they...
mean, I that pains me because I love my dad, but I've kind of have this like subconscious feeling like he's gonna push everyone away eventually.
He is going to push everyone away, depending on how much money and fame and so on. I call them narcissistic supply. Some of the more difficult patients that I've worked with have a lot of narcissistic supplies. What do they need me for? What do they need my words for? They can just blow out of my office, and there are lines and lines of cocaine waiting for them, and Ferraris waiting for them, and everything waiting for them. So unfortunately,
do you know if like narcissists use buying things for people, like cars and stuff, as ways to control them? Because I feel like that's why my family has sort of been like, it's like a cult. Like they don't talk about the abuse.
Yes, because that's what I was asking you earlier. I wanted to know where the gravy train is coming from. He's the gravy train, and he's spilling gravy on all your relatives in the form of money, in the form of whatever, because they don't at the core feel that they're valuable. So they themselves feel that they're only of value if they give these superficial things, because they really don't feel that they have anything to give.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the sad part of it.
It's pretty sad.
So just remember that this is not who you are. The way they see you, the way your father sees you, is not who you are. However, you're at the effect of the abuse, for sure. And so it'll be your job to clean it up, to straighten out your lens of perception, to move away from people like this, to straighten out your partner and make sure that you develop better boundaries between the two of you. And you two can grow, because you're in a loving enough relationship. You want to be partners. You want to grow together. And so no one's threatening anyone. The thing that needs to be threatened is the system gone wrong. That's what needs to come down. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel
All right.
like there's like this tendency I have to be, and I hate to say that I'm toxic because I have codependent tendencies, but maybe I am. Like, so I find that a lot of times, I'm worrying about, why is he at work so late?
All right, so look,
insecurities.
we can't, I'm going to end on this note. We can't control other people. However, we can self-reflect, self-correct, and I think it's really, really important for you to grab a hold of your negative core belief, because if you have a core belief that you're not important enough to be lovable, then anything he does will be filtered through this negative core belief, including his coming home late. Okay?
It will be an affirmation.
It will be an affirmation.
Yes.
So I'm going to move on to Shrink That Tune. Thank you so much, Martin. Be free to call in or call the Psychological Healing Center. And again, I'm reminding people that we're giving 15-minute free consultations, and you get a free copy of the PDF version of the book. And please subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified insofar as when the next show is on. And so I'm going to move to...
It's that time already?
Yeah, it's that time already.
Jeez Louise, time flies when you're having fun.
This is not Louise. This is little Peggy March.
Well, hey,
little
bring it
Peggy.
on. Let's hear it.
Love him. I love him. I love him. And where he goes, I'll follow. I'll follow. I'll follow.
Oh.
I will follow him wherever he may go. There isn't an ocean too deep. This person will be doing anything. There's not a mountain so high it can keep me away. I must follow him. But we don't hear anything about his following her, do we? Right? Nah. No. Ever since he touched my hand, I knew, and nothing could keep him from me. He is my destiny. I love him. I love him. And where he goes, I'll follow. He'll always be my true love, my true love. from now until forever. Do you see the idealization?
Yes,
Okay,
totally.
she's got him on a pedestal. She'll do anything. And if he gives her a little crumb, well, then she'll just
Treasure
follow him even longer than eternity, if there's such a thing. So now we're into the infinity. Mountains so high can keep me away. Can't keep me away. So this is codependency.
Totally.
And she's following
And I know that
following
song.
and following.
I love that song.
And we're
actually.
going to post it because I know what you do. You post the song.
I
Beautiful.
didn't do your last one. 'Cause
It's okay.
I forgot, but I'm gonna go back
Post
and
it.
post the
Thank
other
you.
song because I love
because you're
the
very
other
good
song.
at tech.
Yes.
So
sometimes.
thank you, Heather.
No, thank
for
you,
sharing
Dr. Judy.
everything. And
And
again,
thank you for the call in. And
happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
And people, if you're interested in beautiful
I don't think they could see
mind
your
map
necklace.
art, okay.
It's behind the microphone.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's
okay,
behind the
there it is. This is a necklace of panel number 7, and Heather made it, and she's really a very special and very talented artist. So
Thank you.
thank you everyone for listening, tuning in, and for calling in. Martin, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.